What's up? I'm Anthony. Right now, our country is going through a significant growth spurt, especially on social topics such as race and systemic injustice. On the surface, it can look like race relations are getting worse. People appear to be picking sides and digging in, refusing to budge. However, that's not true for everybody. In fact, most of the smart people that I know are seeking out perspectives and people's real life experiences that are different from their own. Now, as a person who's lived through the gift and the curse of being born and raised both black and white in America, I figured I'd add to the sharing of perspectives by touching on 6 particular race related challenges most biracial Americans face in our lives. Hopefully, it adds some value to the great conversations many of you are already having. Now, I'm going to go kind of fast, so hang on. The first challenge that we face is systemic racism. Mixed people have always been a part of the oppressed class in America. Early legal racial classifications, such as the drop of blood law, were historically put in place to make sure that mixed folks, such as myself, got none of the protection and law privileges that white Americans got, but suffered all the same pain, anguish, and social injustice that black Americans did. Today, although systemic racism has undergone many American makeovers to make it more palatable and less blatant, the social issues plaguing black America, such as exploitive criminal justice systems, unfair policing practices in communities of color, lopsided educational and hence economic opportunities, obstacles like voter suppression, and the intentional manipulation of the political system still represent systemic challenges to mixed people every day. That's one. The challenge we face to this side is the challenge of helping our well-meaning but often racially undereducated allies shake off the lingering effects of being raised and indoctrinated in a system of white supremacy and join the cause of moving the country forward toward true equality. These folks, typically white, typically liberal, they mean well and we need their help, but they got a lot of questions. So oftentimes it becomes incumbent upon us, while also trying to navigate the stresses and challenges of the system directly in front of us, to help and encourage and support these allies in their own development of racial and social consciousness. Although they're eager to help us, the first steps they usually have to take toward truly helping is doing the hard work of self-examination and identifying, then deconstructing their own biases that they've subconsciously adopted while living life as white Americans. That's 2. The challenge directly behind us are the willfully ignorant. These people haven't subconsciously come to accept the continual systemic denigration of the image of black Americans. They've consciously and willfully accepted it. Oftentimes they try to mask their racist or ignorant beliefs and ideas by saying things like, well, if you don't break the law, you won't have any problems with the police. Or look at the crime statistics. Numbers don't lie. When in reality, we all know it's very easy to make numbers lie. In fact, in a video I posted last week called George Floyd and the Maddening Rise of Black White Supremacists, I also included in the comments a link to a great article written by doctors and psychiatrists that explains in detail exactly how language and codes used by medical examiners, coroners, healthcare professionals, both intentionally and unintentionally, propagates the ideas of white supremacy in the way they categorize and report Black death. As Ida B. Wells said when she was talking about the not so distant American history where blacks were being lynched all across this country, those who commit the murders write the reports. For Black Americans, although this group behind me is frustrating and annoying, they have the luxury of just writing them off and letting them stew in their own limited ignorance. As mixed people, we don't have that luxury because the people in this group are often our own family members. As a person of color, trust me when I say, when you see that dumb shit that your family's posting on social media, guess what? Christmas is going to be awkward. That's 3. The challenge we face to this side is the internal struggle. It's helping our black brothers and sisters and people of color understand that when they become disenfranchised, when they disengage politically, when they look at the obstacles and challenges that were systemically placed in front of them and they say, forget it, I give up. When they accept and internalize the barrage of negative self imagery they've been fed through multiple facets over hundreds of years, when they do that, they actually allow themselves to then be a tool for their oppressor. When they internalize the relegation of their black skin to a lesser status, they themselves become instruments of white supremacy. They do this either actively or passively. They do it actively by harming other black people, robbing, raping, killing, or in other ways, injuring their own people. Or they do it passively by perpetrating those crimes against other racial groups and perpetuating the well-crafted stereotypical idea of the black criminal or the black who is amoral or lawless. Now, you and I know these stereotypes are largely untrue, but just one person falling into the trap and acting them out allows for the people in the willfully ignorant group to say, see, I told you. That's 4. So far, the system is in front of us. Our well-meaning but racially undereducated friends are to this side. The willfully ignorant are behind us. And to this side, we have friends and family who we're trying to keep from internalizing all the negative self-imagery they see every day. But wait, there's more. Above us, and these directions aren't reflective of any social status, I'm just running out of freaking room here. Above us is an element of black society who would hear our social concerns and tell us, dog, you ain't even black. Shut up. Your mom is white. Your wife is white. You're going to talk about racial issues? When you walk into a room, people don't even see a black man. They see Drake's unsuccessful half brother. These things are complicated. You want to know how complicated these things can be? I've actually heard this sentence spoke to me. Nigga, you ain't black. And I didn't know how to react because he was obviously trying to hurt my feelings, but he had just called me nigga, so I felt strangely accepted. That's 5. And below is the challenge of white America who would basically tell us the same thing, but in their own way. When they hear us talk about the issues that come with being black in America, they listen politely and then ask, wait, you're black? Once we break down our racial background, that's often followed up with, oh, so you're black, but you're not, black. So what is my point in all this? My point is, this country, which I love and served proudly, is growing. And sometimes growth is painful. But don't let the loudest and most ignorant voices convince you that we are moving backward, because we're not. And certainly don't let those loud, ignorant voices trick you into moving backward yourself. So, find your balance, keep working to expand your understanding of these complicated issues, and keep listening to each other. And remember, if you don't like the energy that you're seeing in the world, practice giving something else. The energy we emit always works its way around back to us one way or another. Because if there's one thing I know, it's this: everything connects. Peace.